Welcome to episode 47 of the Babes Talking Business podcast. Today we have Courtney Epps, who is an accountant and a speaker who has spoken for a number of companies around the world over the past several years. She educates on how you can save anywhere between $4,000 and $8,000 per year in tax savings from your home-based business like network marketing. Now, just a small disclaimer. Knowing that our audience is global, it's important to note that taxation laws can vary in different countries and even in states within those countries. So it's really important for you to contact your local tax agent or accountant for specifics. But Courtney does share a number for you in this episode that you can text for further information within your area. And you can find that information in our show notes below. This episode is not designed to replace tax advice or financial advice. And just be aware some of the information in this episode may not be applicable to you or the state or the country that you're in. In saying that, nonetheless, this episode is going to blow your mind. Courtney shows us why it's so important to have a home-based business, and as well why it's really important to continue to build your home-based business, and really important to attend those trainings, using your products and promoting, all while being tax deductible. In this episode in particular, she helps us understand how we can save more money throughout the entire business with her epic advice and actionable steps that you can start taking straight away. This is seriously an incredible episode I wish I had in my hands when I first started my network marketing business, because I wish I could have shared this with my team and even my partner, and you guys can definitely share this with those you love who you know will really appreciate learning how you can save 4 to 8K a year in tax savings. I know for me, my hubby's ears perked up when I told him that our home-based business was saving us up to $8,000 a year. So definitely share this one with anyone who you feel would absolutely love it. You guys, you know that our biggest mission is to empower women with their financial situation, help women become more financial literate, and really empower women with their choices. So with the average income today being around $60,000 a year, $14,000 of that being paid in tax, this leaves us with a take home of $46,000 on average per year, but living expenses are around $53,000 a year on average. So it's no wonder why people are so financially stressed, they're in debt, and they're looking for a secondary income. Well, what I love about this episode is Courtney not only shows us why network marketing is such an incredibly smart revenue producing business that you can build from home, but she also shows us how just by saying yes to this business, you automatically save 4 to 8K per year just by making the decision to say yes. So if you would love to watch the full episode, head over to YouTube. You can check us out in our lounge room and sit with us, have a cuppa and listen to the full version. Otherwise, if you'd love the short and sweet version where you can take actionable steps, you can check out this episode on any of our podcast apps that we are on, like iTunes. So you can check out our website at www.babestalkingbusiness.com or our Instagram at babestalkingbusiness, where we have loads of information, including our free side hustle guide that you can download. It's a 40-page guide where we help you not only think of your bright idea and your new business idea, but we share some really interesting information with you about business that you may not be aware about. Plus, we give you 53 ideas on different side hustles that you can start today. If you love this episode, please give us a 5-star review. Make sure that you leave your Instagram handle on your review so that we can shout you out for our review of the week. So without further ado, we're so excited for you to hear from Courtney and all her amazing wisdom around tax strategy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
Now, for those of you who've never met Courtney or haven't seen her amazing work, Loz and I actually stumbled upon Courtney being in the network marketing industry, but we got to see you on stage at Eric Worre's GoPro, and what you shared on stage was just mind-blowing. Actually, I think we were all left a little bit gobsmacked at the end of it, just learning about the tax strategy behind having a home-based business and how many incredible deductions you can have there, and how it's actually cost effective to have a home-based business.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that, it really excited me. As an accountant, I've been an accountant for the last 19 years, and I'm a speaker and an author, but the biggest thing for me is that I love teaching strategy and I love teaching people how to free up money. And so I was taught, probably like most accountants, that unless you had a brick and mortar location, a traditional business, it was not legitimate. And so, one of the things that really shocked me is I read a book about 6 years ago. I was in the network marketing industry at the time, and it popped up in a presentation. And the book was Lower Your Taxes Big Time by Sandy Botkin. And that guy was an IRS attorney and a CPA. And I started reading the information in that book. And the first chapter of the book said why you'd be brain dead not to own a home based business if you don't already own one. And, I started reading. It was like chapter 2 was how to write off your fund. Chapter 3 was how to write off your vacations. Like, it really hit me hard that the information that I learned in college and what I learned through continuing education was not strategy, it was compliance.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I went on this mission about 3 years ago. It actually, gosh, it hasn't even been 3 years. August will be 2 years. I went on this mission to work alongside speakers, coaches, trainers, and network marketers to help free up money, to teach people why they had to have a home-based business or they would literally be brain dead. And the reason why I did that is I heard some statistics that really hit me hard. And those statistics came from Grant Cardone. Watched a webinar, and he said, and I had to go look them up because it shocked me that much. But it said that the average household in America is $60,000 a year. So a 2-parent household in America, 60 grand a year, they're paying about $14,000 a year in taxes, and the take home is $46,000.
Wow.
Well, the problem with that is that the cost of living in America is on average of $53,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So the American household is going in debt $7,000 a year to work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year to take 2 weeks paid vacation. And because I had been in the network marketing industry, I had done about 900 tax returns for people who were a W-2 employee the year before and then decided that they were going to start their business. And I said, man, I mean, like, I literally stopped. I was driving down the road, and I stopped in my tracks, and I said, I'm the only accountant that has been in the network marketing industry that understands how legitimate that is willing to stand on stage, because most accountants, let's face it, they're not typically very outgoing, and they don't want you to know anything or understand anything. They just want to do it. And so that put me in a place where it was like, I have to share this message, because I was able to show people that I could save them between $4,000 and $7,000 a year. Because I was in the network marketing industry, I was doing that because I was literally going into the tax software and showing them, this is where you would have been had you not had this home-based business, and this is where you are now. And so I felt like it was just my calling that I was supposed to start sharing this information and teach people how they could literally have enough money to get started. Because let's face it, if you get a tax refund every single year, that means you're giving the government a tax-free loan every year. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make sense for us to do that. So there's ways to free up that money so you can get started in your own home-based business, and then you can stay in long enough to win if you understand that the money that you need to get started is there. You're just overpaying it in taxes. And then when you understand of tax deductions around having a home-based business, then you get to not only save money in the beginning, but you get to save money along the way until you learn enough to become successful. And then when you start becoming successful, then we can teach you how to keep more of your hard-earned money. And so that's just kind of what my mission is and what I've been trying to share with the world, because honest to God, 46% of Americans did not have an extra $400 to their name before the pandemic. 69% of Americans didn't have an extra $1,000 to their name before the pandemic. And I can guarantee you that there's not much difference in worldwide. You know, I don't know the specific numbers of what it is outside of our country, but I know people are constantly living paycheck to paycheck. So, you know, what's happening right now, there's never been a better time to have some sort of home-based business. And honestly, I don't care what it is. I care that you find something you're passionate about, that you can open your mouth and share more, because the more you share, the more tax deductions you get and the more successful you will end up being over time.
I love that. And I really want to highlight what you just said in regards to how, you know, having a home-based business, you really can save that 4,000 to 7,000 a year. And I think what happens with a lot of people in this industry, they get disheartened when they don't reach their goals straight away. And they're thinking, oh, I have to invest all this money into my network marketing business to get it up and running. I'm spending money on my products and I'm trying really hard and I'm doing the hustle and the grind. But there's this pocket of income that they can actually make back, which, you know, they're not seeing it physically in their bank account every month when they're getting their commission check, but it's actually something that you can access at tax time. I love that.
Well, you don't even have to wait until tax time. You can increase your exemptions on your W-4, which is in this country, and you can actually pay less in taxes throughout the year, because if you don't owe the taxes, you don't have to pay in extra taxes and wait on a tax refund. So that's what a lot of people just don't realize, how this whole system works. And at the end of the day, what we see is that it's going to save the average person $4,000 to $8,000 a year by attempting to earn an income. Well, what does attempt means? It means that you are giving time and effort and energy doing something called daily business building activities, 45 minutes a day for 3 to 5 days a week. So reaching out to somebody and talking to them about your business, whether it's online, whether it's through any sort of social media avenue, whether you're doing it in person, you know, through text message, it really doesn't matter. You just have to be showing that you are truly attempting to earn an income. And by doing that, now the things that you were spending before. So, and I think it's crazy because people are going to buy product anyway. It's just, do you want to buy the product wholesale and be able to write it off on your taxes, or do you just want to buy the product retail? Yeah. And that, to me, it makes no sense when people say, well, you know, it's costing me money. How can that be? Because it's saving you money, because you were going to buy the product anyway. Now you're probably getting the product for a lesser price. And then if you tell somebody about that product, now I'm in business to make money. And it may not be that people are excited to share the business opportunity with other people. It's just literally sharing the product or the service. So, you know, if I pick up the phone and I call you and I say, hey, you know, I'm really excited about what I'm doing. Let's go to lunch tomorrow. And I get in my car and I drive to you, because I'm in business and I'm attempting to earn income by talking to you about what I'm doing. I get to ride 58 cents a mile here in this country. And so once I get to the restaurant and I sit down and eat dinner with you, or breakfast or lunch, I get to around 50% of that. And now in some countries, it may be a little different, but almost every country has the same deductions. So it may be different on the percentages that you can take, but you know, it's pretty much across the board. If you're attempting to earn an income, you get to take advantage of the tax deductions around it. So I sit down, I tell you what I'm doing, and you say, Courtney, I love it. Or you say, Courtney, I want to make money, but I'm not interested in making money doing this. You know, I want to do the product or service. Or you may say, you know what, Courtney, I think you're going straight to hell. But before you do that, I think you might be going to jail. And you may not get it at all. And that's perfectly fine, because not everybody has to get it. Because at the end of the day, if everybody got it, nobody would have to actually be talking to you about the product or service that they're trying to offer from the company. And that's exactly what direct sales is. There's some level of education that has to be given and provided to you in order to get you to understand how amazing the product is.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you comprehend that, it's like, okay, well, they're doing, these direct sales companies, all they're doing is paying me to share a story about how amazing the product and service is, as opposed to it sitting on the shelf and nobody telling that story. So they're willing to pay commissions in order to do that. Well, if I tell you that, hey, it's okay. If you don't get it, that's perfectly fine. I was just trying to show you a way that I have saved. I'm going to save $4,000 to $8,000 this year, that I'm buying product at wholesale, and that I'm making some extra money. And if you hadn't made any extra money, it's perfectly fine. You can say, I'm going to make some extra money. Because at the end of the day, I feel like if you kind of put it out there, it's going to happen, right? Whatever you believe or whatever you don't believe, you're right. Exactly. And so, so I tell you that, and then I explain, and you're like, well, what do you mean by tax deductions? So I get to save $4,000 to $8,000 a year in taxes by being a part of this company. Well, what I mean by that is that because I had a conversation with you, I get to write off my meal, 50% of my meal. I'm going to get back in my car. I'm going to write off 58 cents a mile on my way home. And then when I get home, I get to write off a portion of my home, because guess what? I'm using my home to run my business. So a portion of my utilities and my property taxes and my insurance and my mortgage interest, as well as my repairs and maintenance. And I can depreciate my home as well. So those are tax deductible. And then I need my cell phone in order to call you on it. I need my internet in order to run my business. And then at the end of the day, I need a laptop so I can write that off. If I want to spend some money on advertising, that's cool too. But the thing is I haven't spent an extra dollar on any of those things. I was already spending money on my car. I was already spending money on going out to eat. The only difference between me and you, if you decide you don't want to join me, is that you pay full price and I don't have to pay full price. Because see, at the end of the day, as a W-2 employee, you have something called, you're in the first system, the first tax system, sadly enough. And so I'm just going to I'm going to be real with you and tell you what those systems are. So if you don't like them, maybe you should move over into the second system. You have the W-2 employee system. Then you have the second system. Now that W-2 employee system was created to steal your wealth. And it's just real. That's all I can be. I can just tell you the truth. Okay. Now the second system was created to provide you wealth. It's to help you make more money. And so what that second system is for business owners. And as a business owner, it doesn't matter if you're a home-based business owner. It doesn't matter if you're a brick and mortar business owner. It doesn't matter if you're a part-time business owner and you're a W-2 employee on the side. That's fine. Or a full-time W-2 employee and part-time business owner. So if you are in that system, you get massive tax advantages. And the reason why is because we continue to generate economy. We continue to go out and sell and sell and sell and sell and sell. That continues to churn the economy. And then on top of that, we typically will hire all the employees. So, 70% of employees are generated in small to medium-sized businesses. They're not necessarily in large corporations. So we get massive tax advantages for doing that. Somebody has to pay the taxes. It trickles down to the W-2 employee. So at the end of the day, I'm just trying to help you get into the same tax system that I'm in, that's going to help you keep more of your hard-earned money.
Wow. It just makes sense to have a home-based business, or any business for that matter then. And when you're talking about systems, and it's interesting because a lot of people will say no to a home-based business or a network marketing business, or even going out there and trying a side hustle and having a go, because they feel like the investment of time that they put into that isn't going to be, there's not going to be a return on investment on that for a couple of years, right? Because we all know that business takes a few years to be in profit. But what I love about this is that you're actually saving money being a business owner, and it sort of just flips your mindset on the whole thing, doesn't it?
Yes. Well, and that's, one of the things that I talk about in my presentation that I speak on is that the savings from a home-based business generating an extra $4,000 to $7,000 a year in tax savings for you, you would have to make an extra $3.75 per hour for every hour that you work, roughly, in order to bring home the amount of money that you would get in the tax savings of spending 45 minutes, 3 to 5 days a week, attempting to talk to your friends and family or people that you don't know about your business opportunity or just your product or service. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you talk to them about. It could be you really love the business. It could be that you really are not interested in talking about the business and you want to talk about the product or service. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you open your mouth or use your thumbs and start texting people or Facebook messaging them, I guess.
I love it. I remember when you chatted last year, you had your beautiful kids there with you, and I loved how you integrated some of your tasks that you have in your business with your kids, and then obviously using that as a part of your business as well, which I love because I know that a lot of mums would be listening to this right now. Could you explain a little bit about that and how you involve your kids in what you do?
Yeah, so and one of the great things about being a speaker is almost everything is tax deductible. So, I'll give you kind of an example. One, we've hired our kids, so our kids work for us. Every one of them do. And so some of them it's social media stuff. Some of them it's data entry. I have one of my sons that goes with me to almost every event that I do. He's my personal assistant. He's just really great at talking to people, and that's what he needs to be doing. And he wants to be a motivational speaker when he grows up, like his mom. And then, I've got a daughter who's a tax preparer. She just turned 18. She's actually graduating tomorrow. So, I have 6 kids. So they are 18, 17, 16, 15, 13, and 7. So, I have a lot of kids that can do lots of things. And so we have taught them, to work for us, and then they buy their things. So we pay them to work for us and do the things that we would pay someone else to do. And then they go and buy the things that they want. So, the other aspect of that is travel. So when I go and we travel to events, I take them with me. And because they work for me, that becomes a tax deduction. And what I'll typically do is I'll take them a couple days on the front end and a couple days on the back end, and I'll spend time with them just by themselves. And the first day that we fly in or drive in or whatever, that's 100% travel day. So we can do whatever we want that day. The second day is, I may not be able to write off that day, but I can write off everything else. So if I were to put in 4 hours and 1 minute that day trying to build my business, and the rest of the time I was focused on spending time with my son or my daughters, or my sons or my daughters, then I could write that out. I could write off all of it. So, one of the things that we do really well, and I love about what we're doing is, I'm speaking at an event in September in Punta Cana. It's an all-inclusive. I'm being paid to go. They're paying for the all-inclusive for me and my husband to go, because that was kind of a package deal. Because, I mean, who doesn't want to go to an all-inclusive? You definitely don't want to go by yourself. And so I'm like, well, we'll make this a family vacation. But while we're there, we're going to have clients that are going to be at this event that we could be working with, for a couple days while we're there, just for, 4 hours. And we could do that really early in the morning. And then we'd have a couple days with them to just do whatever we want to do. And then we can make pretty much 75% to 80% of that whole entire travel expense tax deductible, because I need them there with me to help me sell books. I need them to help me connect with people. So, there's so many amazing ways that you can take advantage of tax benefits that you don't even comprehend, right? Until you start getting into this world. And so, another example is personal growth and development. It is my number one thing to spend money on. So I will tell you that I know and I actually said this to my staff this morning. So I just hired 9 new people this week, and I'm training my whole entire staff. We're cross-training them. We're making sure we're getting ready to go the next level. So I've got 26 people that work for us now. Nice. And we had all of 3 people in September. So kind of crazy.
Mhm.
And so, with my kids, or my staff, I was telling them this morning, I said, look, there's 3 things I spend money on. One is to grow my business. Okay. Because I know if I put money back into my business, it's going to grow. I know if I put money in personal growth and development and I grow my mindset, it will grow my business in turn. And then the other thing is giving. So those are the 3 things I focus on. Now, granted, I spend money on my children and stuff like that, but I pay them and they pay for their things if we can't write it off as a tax deduction. So, children, it's just amazing because you can pay them $12,000 a year and they don't have to pay taxes on it. Or in the United States now, it'll be different in other countries, but we have a standard deduction in the state of in the United States, and that standard deduction is $12,000. So each person in the country is entitled to a $12,000 tax deduction that they don't have to pay taxes on. So that's $12,000 worth of free money. Well, your children are entitled to that as well. So you can pay them $12,000 a year. They don't have to pay taxes on the money. You don't have to pay taxes on the money because it's a business expense for you. And then at the end of the day, if they're under 18, there's no FICA taxes to withhold. There's no unemployment taxes, no federal and state taxes. So it's a win-win situation. That is called income shifting. So it's literally taking the amount of money that you're making and shifting some of that income off to your children, and then they would pay taxes on it at a lower rate if they ever had to pay taxes on it. So you can pay them more than the 12,000, but if you just paid them 12, then there's no taxes for them.
That sounds like a pretty epic trip to Disneyland. I love it. And let's talk about, so you mentioned that you spend money on 3 things, and that's on growing your business, on your personal mindset, and on giving. I'd love for you to expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah, so I'm a platinum partner with Tony Robbins. That was probably it was scary to spend that kind of money. It's $85,000 a year to be a platinum partner. The best thing that I ever did in my entire life for not only my business, but also my mindset. So what it did is it got me around the right people. And that's what I love so much about network marketing. It's like you can get a lot of the same information that I get from a Tony Robbins event at a network marketing event for probably $250. But the thing is that I'm not in network marketing anymore. So, I don't get invited to company events unless I'm speaking at the company events. And so, and I got to go spend $85,000 on my personal growth and development because I'm not in network marketing. But one of the things I love is that it puts you around the right people. So not even necessarily people that are making tons of money, but you're around like-minded people that are trying to get somewhere in life, not trying to pull you down. And so then you're around the top 1% typically. So, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to be a platinum partner. I wanted to go to the top. And in order to get to the top, I know if you just do whatever the people at the top are doing, then you will more than likely be successful. And then the other thing I'll tell you what it does is going to events. It's like you look at somebody and you say, they made it? Seriously? Like they made it? And like with me, it's like this country girl, if I walked out on stage, I mean, I'm sure, and I started talking and, let's say I was making $250,000 a month with the company, people would look at me and like, if she can do it, like without a shadow of doubt, like I'm gonna make $500,000 a month, I mean, and I know that's what people see. And so, events are just so amazing, but to have the mindset, I'll tell you 4 things that my very first Tony Robbins event taught me. Those 4 things were to help me overcome my limiting beliefs, because I failed in a business and lost everything I owned. And I was $250,000 in debt about 10 years ago. And the reason why I got back involved in network marketing, and I'll tell you, I'm not in any way, shape, form, or fashion involved in any company anymore and have not been for the last 3 years. But when I got, I was broken. Like I lost my business. I didn't know what to do. And actually the people that I met in the network marketing space, they were positive. And they helped me grow back kind of my limiting beliefs. And, I was undervaluing myself. And, and then I got involved in a network marketing company where the upline was not so nice. And they attacked me every chance that they got. And that lowered it back down. It got me to a really bad place. And, I made it to the top 1% in that company, but it was a good old boy company. And so, they didn't want women to succeed. And because I was the number one income earner woman in the state of South Carolina, they would literally call my downline and say, hey, she can't get you where you need to go. You need to come work with us. And it destroyed my team about 7 times. Wow. And then I moved to a nutrition company and I made it to the top 1% of that company. And so I love network marketing. Like, I love it. And, and I would be in network marketing if it wasn't for the fact that I need to be outside of network marketing to teach people why they need to be in network marketing and stay in network marketing long enough to win. So that's my superpower, right? But continuing education, guys, the limiting beliefs I had massively, and Tony Robbins helped me get through that. And the other thing is that I was massively undervaluing myself. And when you do that, you tend to attract the wrong type of people. And so I was attracting the wrong type of people in my life, which was causing me not to get the things that I want, because you are the top 5 people you hang around. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I realized is that no matter what your current situation is, you get to choose how it affects you, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you're mad, whether you're grateful. And I choose being grateful for everything that ever happens to me, especially if it's bad, because I know that something major God has in store for me. And you may not believe in God, so I'm sorry, but I do. And I believe that God has major things in store for me anytime something bad happens in my life. Mm-hmm. So the other thing that I did really badly, or I probably actually really well, was self-sabotage. Mm-hmm. So every time that I felt like I was going back into becoming a professional accountant, because that's what I was scared of. I was scared to go back into the accounting world full time. I was scared to death that I was going to make a bad decision and end up losing my business like I did 10 years ago. And so I wouldn't allow myself to go through. And so I got through all 4 of those things in a 4-hour time period. That month, I was making $7,500 a month in accounting. And we just hit $270,000 a month last month.
Wow.
So that, my friends, is why I spend money on personal growth and development. People will get you, all you need to do is find people that have what you want, and just go after it and just follow them and beg them to mentor you. Uh-huh. And the great thing about the network marketing industry is you can more than likely get that information for free from your upline, because they want to help you get to where they've gotten and help you even make more. Like, it would be great if, in a network marketing business, if I signed up someone and they made more money than me, because I'm going to make a lot of money. It's perfect. It's a perfect scenario. The last part is giving. So one of the things that I'm truly grateful for, about 2 years ago, I had a network marketing company that I was a part of, and they were doing a buy one, give one model. And I didn't really understand that. At first, I thought it was a marketing ploy. And, but I fell in love I ended up going to Mexico and seeing some of the children that this company was feeding through a nonprofit. And that nonprofit was called Manna Relief. And so I fell in love with Manna Relief's mission and purpose is to eradicate childhood malnutrition. And I went on a mission. I reached out to the founder of Manna Relief and said, hey, what would it take to feed a child whole food, plant-based nutrition for a month? And he said, it's $2.
Wow.
And I said, I knew at that point in time that Manna Relief was the only nonprofit in the entire world that provides non-synthetic products to children. And if you know anything about synthetics, if you provide that to a malnourished child, like, you're just killing them faster. It just plain and simple. So you're filling up their belly, but it's just not good. Their bodies can't accept it. And so I fell in love with that mission. And, obviously, as a tax deduction, I wanted to make sure I could write it off as a business tax deduction so that I could take advantage of it, so I could save more money, so then I could give more. And so what we did is we started giving from a gross income level, and we found out through the tax code that if you give from your gross income and not from your net income, so before you spend a dollar, if you give from that number, it could be for every dollar, it could be for every product that you offer, it could be for every service. But if you give that way, it becomes a cost of goods sold item, and it's 100% tax deductible as a business expense, as opposed to 96% of Americans who get no benefit from charitable contributions. So just really giving out of the kindness of their heart. So we started with them April 16th of 2018. We've been able to provide, as of yesterday, 2,053,000 servings of whole food plant-based nutrition to children in need. And then on top of that, we added in another nonprofit if that wasn't enough, because I really feel like God put me on this earth to help nonprofits. I'm supposed to work really hard. I'm supposed to free up money, and we do about $250,000 a week we free up for people that didn't know that it existed. Like, we go back and amend tax returns and do all this stuff. So I'm supposed to free up the money so that we can help give more. And that's kind of what I'm supposed to do. I know that. And so we started giving to Operation Underground Railroad on February 29th, which was Tony Robbins' birthday. And I fell in love with their mission and what they were doing. And so for every 25,000 that comes into our accounting practice, we free a child through sex trafficking. And it's not only now sex trafficking, because every 30 seconds a child is taken into sex trafficking across the world. Every 6 seconds a child dies of malnutrition. So, combining those two, I felt like I was supposed to do that. So what I decided is I reached out to the founder of that company and I said, look, I think I was led to connect you with Manna Relief. And we're going to feed. OTB Tax is going to provide all of the nourishment for every child that you guys have freed through Operation Underground Railroad. And to take it another step, we started funding a nonprofit called The Last Whale. And The Last Whale is actually, they have gone in and done a border-to-border initiative and provided safe drinking water. And it's whale, because I know I say that wrong. W-E-L-L. It's not like the whale in the ocean. It is W-E-L-L. So The Last Whale. And so what they have gone in is and put in safe drinking water, actually built wells in a border-to-border initiative and impacted 5.2 million lives. And so for every $150 that we bring in to our accounting practice, we provide safe drinking water for a person for the next 25 years. Nice. And so now I've connected all three, and we're helping all three, and we're like literally going into countries and impacting an entire country with water, safe drinking water, nutrition, and then through that we'll find all of the children who need to be freed through sex trafficking. And one of the greatest parts of that is The Last Whale there, the indirect thing that it actually did with this country is it decreased sex trafficking by 87%.
Oh my goodness, that's just crazy.
Because the little girls were having to walk two miles each way to go get water, and they would never make it back.
There you go.
So you can tell that's my heart. So we've been blessed to be able to our goal every single month, and we hit that and maximize that. But we were able to free 10 children last month through sex trafficking. So we keep track of that. We don't keep track of our income. We keep track of how many children did we feed, and that's about 9,021 children every day that we have our account every day of the month. And then we freed about 10 children last month, or it was actually 10 children. And then I think we provided about 1,684 people with fresh drinking water, on top of finding about $1 million for people in taxes that they didn't know existed. So that's my mission, is to teach more so that I can help more have more. And then they will be able to save more, and then they can give more, and then I can feed more and free more.
I love that, because so many people have this dirty money story that, or they think, what will I do with all that money? Or they self-sabotage, like you sort of mentioned about your past. And it's just beautiful to see what you're doing and what you can do when you do really put all your time and effort into your home-based business so that you can receive more to give more. And I truly think that the secret to living is giving. So I love that you've shared that. You've just inspired me so much. We had a really beautiful campaign with OUR a couple of months ago, actually, with our team. We were able to raise some money to free children from sex slavery. So that's close to our heart as well. So I love that that's part of your mission. And I love that people that come and see you and work with you can also have a bit to do with that. That's great.
Thank you. And we actually got Tim Ballard on a Network of Influence event next week. I've got him on it as a featured speaker because I definitely want to create awareness for what these nonprofits are doing. I mean, they're giving up their entire life to go on this mission to eradicate sex trafficking, to eradicate childhood malnutrition. And I just happen to, be the one over here. It's like, okay, I can do tax returns, I can speak and I can help people, right? And so I take that, what I'm really, really good at. And, it's so crazy to me. Sometimes people will go and focus and they'll try to find something that truly excites them. And, but the thing is that I realized for a long time, it took me about 16 years before I liked accounting. And that was the same day that I sat in the room with Tony Robbins, because I realized all of my failures, everything that I screwed up on, I could help business owners not do that. So I can help them take the road less stupid, right? Yeah. And that's what I did. I mean, I took a stupid long road that cost me a lot of money, and I can help people take the road less stupid. So I'm like, well, gosh, I'm so thankful that I was given all of this stuff and the things I did wrong, because now I can truly help other people not go down that road. So I can impact tens of thousands of lives with my stories. And just teach them, hey, stop. Like, you might want to turn in the other direction and do something different, because what you're about to do is probably not going to work for you. And so it's been so amazing to be a part of the network marketing industry. And now I'm not in it anymore, but I'm in it. Like, I feel like I'm a part of a family, and I'm helping everybody else, but they're in turn helping me grow my accounting practice as well, which is in turn helping us feed more children and free more children and provide safe drinking water for more children. And at the end of the day, it's not putting money into the pockets of, Bezos, I mean, it's not putting the money back into Walmart. It's putting the money back into families so that we can help each other provide for a better life. And I just think that's the better way to go about what we're all doing. Is we're helping single moms be able to stay at home with their kids and spend time with them. We're helping, mothers be able to spend time with their kids. Because, see, my accounting practice was built from home. Up until September of 2019, my neighbors got upset, and they decided they didn't want me to work from my home anymore because they were all going to work, and so they called the code enforcement, and code enforcement came to my house and said, you have to relocate. And I was like, I do not want to do that. I do not. Like, I did not want to do that. I wanted to be at home with my 6 children because we homeschooled them. And, I loved being a part of their life. And so, out of necessity, we moved into a 4,000 square foot building. Now, granted, probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I'm now focused on working my way out of a job and just speaking. And so the day to day, it would kind of be tough for, 25, 26, 27 employees to be hanging out with your 6 kids every day and a dog and a husband. It would be a little, it would be like working inside the swimming pool. So can't do it.
I love it. Well, I have one last question for you before we let you go today. And I think this will be a really great question for the answer in particular for people who just don't know how to prepare for tax time so that they can help their accountant have an easier job there. So what can we do for people like yourself who, when we have a home-based business, is there anything in particular we can get ready for you? Like, I don't know, Excel spreadsheets or keeping receipts, things like that. Like, they're the main things I'm assuming. But what is it that would help you to make your job so much easier?
So we have something called a deduction spreadsheet that I've created over like 15 years of just kind of checks and balances, like deductions that people should be taking for having a business. And so, we can definitely provide that to you if you want to send that to, everybody, make that available. But the other thing is you've got to make sure that you're keeping track of expenses. Now, Excel spreadsheets, I do want to caution people, if you get audited, an Excel spreadsheet is not really going to help you. You've got to have some sort of software. Now, as far as the software, our company uses QuickBooks Online. We are actually in the process of taking over a software company that we are revamping, and it will actually be better. I'm not going to say it's going to be better than QuickBooks, but what it's going to be is for small to medium-sized businesses to help them run their business. But right now we have a membership that you can have access to a software plus strategy from us. And maybe that's a good way to go. I would not suggest QuickBooks Self-Employed. It is very, for an accountant, just for us having to take on a client, it's very tough for us to use when we have to end up giving a client our deduction spreadsheet and saying, hey, I need you to go through and you're just going to have to give us the deductions on this spreadsheet, because what happens is it goes to something called uncategorized expenses, and they have to break that stuff out. So we can't list that on a tax return. So, we have clients all over the state, or excuse me, not all over the state, all over the country, in every single state. And so we can provide you with that deduction spreadsheet. That would be super helpful for you guys. And then, if we can help in any way, we also can provide a tax strategy session and just tell you what you should be doing. So, it's typically when I see clients, because we do about 15 to 18 tax strategy sessions every single day with people. And so what the problem is that they're missing deductions. So that's one of the biggest things, first and foremost. The other is they're not structured properly. So when clients actually start making money, they don't set up an LLC. They haven't taken that LLC and treated it as an S corporation. So they're overpaying in self-employment taxes. And then the third step are, typically bigger clients that are making money, that have set up S corporations, but they're still missing out on deductions that they didn't know that they were entitled to take. And then the other part is that they're overpaying themselves in a paycheck, because when you start setting up an S corp, you have to have a paycheck. So those are the three kind of things. It's like missing deductions. Is it structured properly? And then, moving forward, are you paying yourself enough in a paycheck? Are you paying yourself too much? So should we go backwards and try to get you that money back? So that's kind of what we see on a daily basis. And we're typically finding between $5,000 and $50,000 a year, each year, for these clients, because they don't realize that they have access to these advantages, these tax advantages. And so, and the biggest part of that is that, and I think this is why, is that typical accountants start off as W-2 employees. They work for an accounting firm, right? They're W-2 employees. They don't work outside of the world of accounting, right? And they're introverts. So they're not going out and doing network marketing. They're not sitting at a coffee shop and talking to people about building a business, right? They're not going to continuing education events unless it's some boring, it's some boring event that they're having to learn. So they don't understand, oh, you're going to a Tony Robbins event. That's not a tax deduction. Yes, it is, because it's continuing education. It is personal growth and development. So it is a tax deduction. So they don't understand in the beginning. And then a lot of times, W-2 employees will they'll work for a CPA firm for a while, and then they'll decide to go out on their own. So they don't fully comprehend the benefits of having a home-based business. And the last part is that they don't understand that you can actually take and redirect your living expenses. So things you're already spending money on, your cell phone, your meals, your mileage, blah, blah, blah. Then you can redirect those and turn those into business expenses. So what a typical W-2 employee would see as a living expense, a business owner sees as a business expense. So when you understand that, it's not like accountants are lying to us. They just don't know. They really just don't know. They haven't been given that information, and they haven't gone out and read from tax attorneys and CPAs who've actually read the tax code and said, oh, this is not exactly what we learned in college. This happens to actually be the exact opposite of what we learned in college. Because see, the sad part is that when we go to college, there is no class at all on tax strategy. Not one. And there's no continuing education class on tax strategy, because why in the world would the government hire people to teach us tax strategy? They would not do it. It doesn't happen.
Well, I'm just blown away, and I'm so grateful for your time today, Courtney. I'll make sure that all of the links to your website, the deduction sheet you spoke about, as well as your monthly membership program, and your book as well, More Relaxing, Less Taxing, all of those things will be in the show notes below for everyone to check out. I just wanted to thank you so much for your time. Really, really grateful. You can also text tax to 1-855-949-1829 for those of you who are really interested in working with Courtney. And Courtney, just a quick question in regards to people who are international. Do you still have strategy sessions with them as well?
We can definitely, and we can also, so this link that I just sent you that they can text to, that's actually going to send them a message. It's going to ask them for their name and email address. So don't worry, we might send you a message once every 3 months if we even do that. So we're just trying to give you the information, and we'll have you in our system if you ever decide you want to do business with us. But there's 4 things there. There's a deduction spreadsheet. So I'm just trying to make it easier for you to get the links. The deduction spreadsheet, you can get a copy of my book for free through an ebook, The More Relaxing, Less Taxing, because I've got a new book coming out called What's Your Plan B, which is actually a promotional tool that's going to be for the entire network marketing industry. So that'll be out in a couple weeks. And the third thing that you'll get in there is you can book a tax strategy session if you want. There's a link to book a time. And right now they're $99. So if you just use that link, you can get it for $99. And then the fourth thing is just cracking your code, which is something that we do with our clients. We kind of like to understand who you are so that we know how much information we're supposed to provide for you. So when we have a call with you, we asked you to do that. So, those are just the 4 links. If you are out in a different country, you are welcome to shoot us an email at info@otbtax, and we will be happy to try to connect you with an accountant in that area. If you're in Canada, we obviously can have a conversation. I can give you some major insight on what you should do, and I can connect you with an accountant in Canada. But as far as the other countries, I'm not as well versed on their laws. I just can tell you this, that every single country that I've spoken to, people in that country, it's like the deductions are the same. The taxes are just a little bit different on how much you have to pay in taxes.
Yeah, well, maybe they can just share this episode with their accountant.
That would be great. Yes, because we're looking for accountants that we can work with in almost every country, because we want to provide that value. I mean, we need to create this connection, and it's really hard to find people that are willing to go the extra mile and understand the tax code so that we can save people money. Sadly enough, most of you probably believe that your accountant's job is to find you money. And that's so far from the truth. Your accountant's job is to prepare your tax return based upon the information you gave them. And you actually sign typically an engagement letter that says that. So I want you to understand is that their accountants are not always created equal, and you've got to find someone who actually understands strategy as opposed to just preparing your tax return. Because I've found, we just recently, we found $1.8 million for a client last week, $83,000 for another client on Saturday. We had a client that overpaid $47,000. We had a client that overpaid $110,000 a year for 3 years. And we're not talking about people who prepared their own stuff. We're not talking about people who prepared their own bookkeeping. I'm talking about people who hired CPAs, paid them good, hard-earned money to do work for them. But the W-2 employee doesn't understand the network marketing industry that's doing the work, and therefore all of the expenses are sitting in personal expenses, and they're not writing those off. And that's what typically happens in a situation with when you have an accountant who's doing the work and they don't understand the industry, nor do they really kind of like the industry, nor do they want anything to do with it. So they don't know. So they just are not providing you the information that you truly need in order to help you save more of your money.
Yeah, I definitely found that it took me a really long time to find someone who at least grasped the concept. So really grateful for your time, grateful for the work that you're doing. And just thank you so much, Courtney. I've loved chatting with you today.
You're welcome. I appreciate you so much. You have an amazing day.
Thank you. You too. Bye. Wow, what an amazing episode. I hope you're feeling inspired after that conversation and empowered to make some changes and choices in your life. Now, don't forget to let us know if you loved this episode. Please give us a 5-star review. It really helps us know that we're on track with serving you guys, and also majorly supports our channel. And you may even be in the running to be the shout out of the week. Every week on Instagram, we share one of our reviews with our network. So please be sure to leave your Instagram handle or your website in your review so we can share you with our amazing community. If you head over to the link in our bio on Instagram at Babes Talking Business, you can get access to so many of our goodies, including the link to our bib shop. It's a crazy cute online merchandise shop that donates 100% of profits to a non-for-profit charity every month. So head over and check out who we're donating to this month and get yourself something super cute to wear. You can also find in our Instagram bio our books. You can get your hands on Life Above Zero by Lauren Kerr or The 4-Year Career with Shani Thompson. Both super easy reads and incredible books to help you expand and evolve in even deeper ways. Now, don't forget to head over to the show notes. You can check out any of the links or the books or the references we mentioned in this episode. And before we go, we just want to say thanks so much for being here, for committing to being the best version of you, and for showing up for you today. You are freaking amazing. Now, if you think that there is someone in your life that could really benefit from this episode, while you're feeling super inspired, please hit the share button and send them this episode right now. And the reason we're asking you to share the love is because you get what you give. And the more that you give and inspire, the more you get in return. Head over to www.babestalkingbusiness.com to check out all of our other podcasts. And we just want to say we are sending you so much love, and we hope to see you soon.
That's what I feel in my heart.